How's it going, everyone? I'm future meteorologist Stephen Foray, and welcome back to another weather news podcast with Foray Predicts. Thank you for joining me this week. Not as much this week to talk about as we did have last week, but still things ranging from severe weather to the tropics. The first thing I'd like to talk about this week is going off of the heavy rain we had last Thursday still, but the National Weather Service in New York issued this, and I thought it was really interesting. This is what they said here on X. With the rain last Thursday, Islip MacArthur Airport Climate Station set a record with 2.93 inches of rain, and that's just over 50% of the station's rainfall this July. That is pretty crazy, guys. That just shows how much rain we got last week. Moving on to this week, you probably noticed the haze in the sky early this week to midweek. That was because of the Canadian wildfires again. Thankfully, not as bad as last year, but we still had pretty bad air quality here, not as bad on the island as it was for the rest of New York and this city. And just as a reminder, as the Storm Prediction Center shows the fire weather outlook there's usually always the possibility for a wildfire to spread depending on where you're located in the country and depending on the time of year. So please always keep that in mind when having fires or anything like that. Now moving on to severe weather throughout the country. The severe weather returned this week in the northern plains, the enhanced risk there in the orange. I hope everyone affected by these storms stayed safe. As shown on the radar, those storms were pretty intense. And today, the enhanced risk returned there in the Dakotas. Here's what the National Weather Service key messages had to say about it. Scattered severe storms are expected later today into the evening of North Dakota and vicinity with some supercells and cluster if possible. As shown on the radar there, possible large hail, possible tornado, and of course wind gusts and rain and everything like that. Severe storms are expected to form the afternoon and certainly did and continue into the evening. I hope everyone affected by those storms stayed safe. Lastly, moving on to the tropics, believe it or not, NOAA still expects an above average season. So they are expecting it to amp up as we approach the peak of hurricane season. 13 to 18 named storms, 5 to 9 hurricanes, 2 to 5 major hurricanes. And here is a look at the 7-day tropical outlook. Here in the yellow, that has about a 20% chance of developing, going out into the Atlantic Ocean, not looking like it has any threat. Then right near that is Dexter, which is now post-tropical, was Tropical Storm Dexter. But then, here in the orange, this has a pretty good chance of developing, going out into the Atlantic, getting pretty close to the United States, but again, not looking like it's going to be any threat. There is its satellite imagery, radar, pretty strong, but again, most likely not going to be a threat. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.